Are we good? Okay, I'm going to call the Park and Recreation Commission Monday, April 4th meeting to order. Is there anyone in public forum? Okay, so before we go on, Tyler is here to present his bridge project at Bittner Park. So can I get a motion to move that up to right now?
I'll make a motion to move Tyler Turner's Eagle Scout project up the agenda.
Second. Yes, second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Tyler. This way you don't have to stay for the full meeting.
So you are welcome.
Yes, please. So you are welcome, please, yes.
I'm gonna give this to everyone if you want.
Yep. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Is this one that John was talking about? Rick?
It might be a different site. There's another spot, I think, where you need a bridge, but this is the usual too.
All right, go ahead.
So my Eagle Scout project is to build a bridge at Bittner Park, at the where it goes from Orange Trail to Red Trail to Orange Trail. And you can see a picture of my location on this second page. And I plan to build a similar bridge to the one on the Red Trail before my spot. And there's a picture of it right there on the third page.
It looks that way from the picture. I'm reading your next slide, yeah, I'm reading your next, yeah.
So right now, the river's only crossable by rocks that you have to step on to get to the other side. And by building the bridge, it would give a safe and easy passage to the other side. It would also help stop erosion by narrowing the pathway that people walk on. The main part of the bridge would be approximately 15 to 18 feet and approximately 3 feet tall and 4 feet wide. There will be ramps on each end about 4 to 5 feet long. The whole length will be about 23 to 28 feet, and the actual dimensions will be confirmed with inland wetlands. And I have a little bit of a timeline of my building. So first is preliminary approval of concept with Mr. Maynard and Mr. Johnson, which was March 14th. And the troop committee approval was March 28th. And then Parks and Recreation Commission approval is now, March 4th, or April 4th. And then the inland wetlands site walk and approval is April/May. And Guilford Town Building permit is May/June. Pre-site prep work June to August. And final build to September to October. So I have a little bit of a budget. And then, so the building permit, I didn't really know how much it would cost, so I just put an estimate of like $75.
Would that be arranged as a town project? So you won't have to pay anything for building permit?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And then the lumber, I would estimate like $500 to $600. The hardware, $150 to $200. And then refreshments are $100, and miscellaneous is $50 to $100. So the total comes out to $900 to $1,000.
What are the refreshments?
Like
Everybody all show up.
We'll be there.
And then for fundraising, to get the money, it would be sponsorships, donations from merchants and suppliers, and then my scout account, which is money I've saved up from service projects and fundraising, and then odd jobs around like house and other people's house to get money, and then money donated by my parents. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, this is one of the best
Great
plans I've seen since I've been on the commission.
Yeah, great
It's
presentation.
concise, it's to the point. I mean, this is a great plan you got here. So you're going to be responsible for the raising the money, correct?
Yes.
Though, I mean, as far as the commission, don't we usually you know, put $500 or whatever
Yeah.
towards the project.
We've always contributed something to it.
Yeah.
Contribute something,
Yeah.
Does anybody have a figure that they, I don't know, $500 and what's everybody think?
I don't know, yeah, I don't know how much we've done in the past. And a lot of times, I think, haven't we sort of filled in when they couldn't, depending on how much the scout could raise?
You're right.
So we could conceivably make a motion to give up to, and then see how much Tyler can raise, and then if he can't get the full amount, we can help fill it in.
Okay. And you saying go above the 500 if we?
No, I would say
Okay.
that probably would be
Okay.
maximum.
Okay. So I make a proposal to fund up to $500, depending what Tyler could raise for the bridge.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help you? I mean, obviously it does, but you have some you've saved up already, right? You have a certain amount already that's raised for this?
Yeah.
Okay. But I think that's reasonable, don't you all think, the 500?
Especially with the cost of lumber.
Yeah, it's going up.
Everything
Yeah.
changing, well, since you printed this,
Right.
it's probably
Yeah.
going up again, so,
Probably.
unfortunately.
Okay, someone to second the motion, please?
I'll second.
Any questions on the motion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any other questions for Tyler?
Can you just confirm the location of it?
Yeah.
You know, you said none of us familiar with the red trail, you know, different color trails. Mark, I think we talked, is that the one that's the main trail going down through Bittner? I think it's called Cushing Brook, the one just before you cross to the Baldwin property?
Yeah.
Is that main trail?
Where, you're heading down the red trail, then the orange trail kind of splits off, and it heads right across towards the Baldwin property.
Yeah, okay.
Quite a ways in, isn't it?
It is.
It is a little ways in, yeah.
There's going to be falling wood.
I don't know if it's closer to come in from Baldwin or closer to come in
From Bittner, yeah.
Bittner, but I'll have to figure that out.
Thanks, Dad.
How is that, yeah?
You've done a great job.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so any other questions for him? All right, so can we get a motion to approve the project?
Make a motion to approve the project.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
We're all eager to second.
We're all eager to second. Yeah, we love it. Oh, we love it. Yeah, they've all been great. Okay, any other discussion or questions on it? No. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You're good?
Nice
Thank
job,
you.
Tyler.
Great job, thank you.
Great job.
So next up would be inland wetlands, right? And
Yes,
the
next
next
is
step is
inland
inland wetlands,
wetlands.
so you can let them know we've approved it. If you need help filling that application, I
Thank
can
you,
help
Tyler.
you.
I can get your signature at some point, too. Okay. We can do that now or do that later, or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, just do it now, so you got it.
Okay, while you do that, we'll go on to correspondence. The first thing in the packet was the letter about the rain garden. That's later on our agenda, so can we just put that aside until we get to that? And then we have two letters that Rick wrote concerning House Bill 5361, and that is in regard to passes for Jacobs and Lake Quantified. And apparently, Rick, you want to speak to that for a minute?
There were two proposals I wasn't made aware of by my professional association. The initial one was that non-residents pay the same as residents for beach access. And so the initial letter I sent was that, and this was to the legislature, I guess, that it would be unfair to residents, because then residents would be paying more than non-residents, because we already pay through taxes. And I said it wouldn't be reasonable to do that. And I don't think I put it in the letter, but I talked to somebody about this, that, well, that'd be like, if we want to take a busload of kids to a pool in, say, I don't know, Wallingford or someplace, I would say, well, then, we're bringing a camp to Wallingford, we want to use your pool and not pay for it. We don't have a pool. And so, anyway, they backed off on that proposal, and they came up with another one at the end of the same week, that you could only charge 50% more for non-residents what you charge residents. And I think that letter, that was the other one I wrote, that the problem with that, again, is that to recoup the costs that it costs us to maintain and operate the beaches, the resident rates would have to go up, because we're making less from non-residents, so to balance it out, we'd have to raise more. And our fees are very, very reasonable. And in the New Haven Register article cited one community where they were charging, these numbers aren't exact, but something like, I don't know, $30 for a resident and $250 for a non-resident or something. That is unreasonable, and we don't do that. Ours, we went by what used to be the statute, which you could charge double for non-resident, which you charge residents, and that's what we've always done. And
That was the statute at one point, but it's no longer is?
it sounds like they're trying to change that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's going back probably 20
Yeah,
years.
because there was a court case to be able to get into the beach, and then the town charged an exorbitant amount for non-residents, and the attorney took that to court and won that
Yeah.
one also.
I think that was in Fairfield or
Yeah,
somewhere
down that way,
downstate.
Greenwich, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still on the books then, that you can't charge,
Well, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but that's what we've done. We've been following that for forever, pretty much. And our fees are very, very reasonable, 35 and 70. I think they even cited Bridgeport where they were charging like a lot for non-residents. And, it's unfortunate, the person who wrote the article was, it wasn't a good article in the New Haven Register. And they made some statements that were totally inaccurate, that shoreline communities, are trying to prohibit non-residents from using their beaches, and we don't do that. I'm sorry. Must be some emergency.
The
All right.
article was very clear that there were certain towns that did not want non-residents.
So, it's.
I was gonna say, we've discussed that in here when
Yeah.
we're talking about our
Yeah.
beach passes every time, when we are the most
Yeah.
fair holding to that standard, and it does sound like, whether or not that's still the standard, it's definitely not being,
Across the board, it's
Yeah.
not being met.
Well, I'm glad he wrote the letters. So that's about all we can do at this
Right.
point. It's out of our hands, so. All right, let's move on to approval of the minutes.
Well, I'm assuming since
Oh, I'm sorry,
these
Barb.
are just his letters, so we have
Yes.
not had a response back
No.
from the legislators regarding his comments.
No. Cool. Okay. I believe he just wrote them, so, yeah. Okay, motion to approve the March 7th meeting, the
I'll
minutes.
Make a motion to approve the March 7th Park and Rec Commission meeting minutes.
Okay, someone second the motion, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion, any questions, any comments on the minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Expenditures. John's not here.
I know.
It's been going awfully quickly. Any question on the expenditures? Any comments on the expenditures?
No, mine's still always the same comments. I'll keep those quiet.
Any questions, any comments?
Oh, no, nothing stood out that was,
All right,
Out of the
so a
ordinary.
motion to accept the expenditures.
I'll make a motion to accept the expenditures as presented.
Thank you. Someone second the motion?
I'll second.
All right. Any other discussion? Nothing?
Nope.
Quiet today. All right, all in favor?
aye.
All right. Department reports. Rick?
There's just a little conflict in the room next door I had to deal with.
Oh,
I'll just highlight a couple, a lot of things are somewhere on the agenda anyway, but number 3, the Chaffinch Island Park. Tony and I met with a couple of residents who had some suggestions for some improvements, like where the porta-john should be located, where to put trash barrels, and kind of organize it a little better. Put a kiosk down there instead of a signpost that has just signs hanging from it. In some cases, the signs are just with a zip tie, and it's like a sheet of paper that's flopping around, and so Public Works was down there last week, did a great job cleaning up the parking lot for us, brought more stone in. When you drive in and you go take a left toward the main sort of parking area, there's a beautiful ledge you could almost not even see because it was overgrown with vines and bushes. They cleared all that out. It's beautiful. It really looks nice. And we can actually get more parking there. The amount of stone they brought in the cleaning that they did of that side, we can almost have 2 rows of parking there now, which we couldn't have before. So maybe we gain, 8 spaces or something. But and they created sort of a pad that the porta-john is going to go on, a stone dust pad. And the porta-john, instead of driving in and seeing it by the flagpole, first thing you saw was the portalet. It's way over to the left now. And well, it isn't yet. It will be there. It's there in the park, but they delivered it on Friday, and that's when Public Works was doing the work in the parking lot. So we had to put it where we don't want it for now, but it's going to get moved, hopefully this Friday, to the other spot. But it's beautiful, and I just want to give a shout out to Public Works. They went and did a great job helping us out down there. The other one, number 6, the Binder Garage is,
What would be the purpose of the kiosk? Like, what information are you going to put there? Is
well,
it- and my question is,
there's
is
like
necessary-
shellfishing signs down there now, and they're just on a metal post, and it just doesn't look good.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
okay, I got,
The
okay.
kiosk is being made by the land steward, the Kevin McGee's group. They made it for us already. And
Okay,
we
so
don't
it needs
go
something
buy
to put the
anymore.
signage up, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's not big,
Not a
it's just,
kiosk for like
Okay.
person information, it's kind of like what we have at Bittner with the map and things like that.
yeah, kind of like
Yeah,
that, a little
right.
smaller though, but yeah, very similar to that.
Okay, gotcha, okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
sorry. The Binder Garage, number 6, the shingles were done last week. Today, the toilet fixture, we're getting all like touchless toilets. Most of them were put in today. A plumber's doing that.
Hey, when you said a garage, that's the building, as soon as you come into the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Why'd they call it a garage?
Well, it's a garage. Below it is a garage and restrooms above. So it's really a bathroom facility, but we have
Oh, okay, okay.
we have 2 garage doors below it.
Oh, okay, okay, I can't picture it, gotcha.
And the floor was newly painted floor, the ceiling's been painted, the walls, our guys did all that. We have new dividers. And Todd has been managing that project, doing a great job with it. Our goal is to have it done by Friday.
Wow.
Because Saturday is, that house waste day there, we figured that it'd be nice if they have a bathroom facility. And Little League is starting to practice there and everything too, and playground and everything else, so it'll be open. Hopefully Saturday we'll have it done. So again, Todd's been pretty much making that project happen, he's done a great job with it. I mean, that's all, unless you have any questions on those things I wanted to highlight.
Has Waste Day on April 9th?
Yeah, yeah.
Mention that.
That's from, the park is, that's on the agenda, but the park is closed from 6 a.m. till 3. The Has Waste Day is 9 to 3, but they need to come in early and set up. And by the time they clean up and get out of there, it's going to be probably, around 3 o'clock. And actually, the dumpsters will probably still be there till Monday. I don't think those will come out on Saturday.
But they'll be out of the way.
Yeah, and when they did that, I think it wasn't last year because of COVID, it might have been 2 years ago, there were 400 people that participated in it. So,
No, we've registered already, we have some motor oil to dispose of.
it's motor oil, gasoline, or
Paint?
household chemicals.
Paint?
They'll take paint, although you can also do that at like Pages now too, but they're going to take that too, yeah. Yeah.
You said it's 9 to 3, correct?
Yes.
9 to 3, they're encouraging people to register. There's a digital sign on the green. It's Regional Water Authority. I don't know off the top of my head what the website is, but they're encouraging people to register for it so they know how many people are coming in. But if a Guilford resident shows up, they're not going to get turned away. They have stuff they can bring in. But it's a great convenience, because right now you have to go to Long Wharf.
Right.
So it's nice that it's something that Janice Plazak, the town engineer, started with us a couple of years ago. So it's good.
You used to do it in the past at the transfer station.
They used to, yeah.
Used to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, the building maintenance report, any questions on that or comments on that? Making progress.
Yeah, Todd's pretty detailed when
Yeah,
he
it is.
he writes out.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, the recreation supervisor report, any questions or comments on that? Other than things are starting to get moving again.
I'll give you some dates. The extravaganza Easter egg hunt is this Saturday at 10.
Oh, it is this
Usually goes about an hour. The rain date is the following week, but that's scheduled for this Saturday. Earth Fest is April 23rd, and there are a number of organizations in town that have booths that'll be there, and there's Touch a Truck. We didn't do it last year, it was 2 or 3 years ago. It's up at Baldwin.
Did we do it at Baldwin?
It's at Baldwin, yeah.
Okay.
Because we use the gym, for some of the booths, and outside, there's music and the touch truck. And I think the shredding truck's gonna be there too. So,
About the Earth Fest, I think one year when it was at the fairgrounds, there was an organized kind of cleanup
yeah,
thing right, where people got sent to different parts of town, but is that not happening?
It's not part of it this time around.
Because I did have someone ask me for a youth group kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they could do it. We're not gonna have a dumpster there, though. It used to be organized, for a few years, it was organized by the Rotary Club. And people would sign up and pick a street, they'd have a map on the green and where people would go and.
Right.
Yeah, I used to do it with my kids all the time.
Yeah, I mean, certainly people were encouraged to do that on their own, but we're just not gonna have a dumpster there.
Maybe that, I know it's on Saturday, but maybe
Yeah.
if we're not able to organize all of that, part of the promotion of Earth Fest should be encouraging people to
To
clean
go
up their
on their
neighborhoods
own.
or,
Yeah, yeah.
pick somewhere.
Yeah, definitely, good idea.
Hey, Rick, I missed Klaus' report, the last one, met with waterfront director. Who's the waterfront director?
What's our aquatics director? Every summer we have somebody. It's Taylor Hudak this year. She's been working with us for a lot of years, and she was assistant last year, and this year she's gonna be the aquatics director.
Oh, she takes care of lifeguards and,
Yeah, she oversees all the lifeguards, the gate guards,
Okay,
helps
gotcha.
schedule them, and,
Okay.
yeah.
got it, okay, thank you.
And she came up with this idea of an electronic version of the boat waiver. So we don't have to have all the paper when people have to sign a waiver to use a paddle boat. Once we have it in the system, if they want to use it another time, we already have it. We don't have to do it again. And she came up with that idea, and that's what Ellen was talking about when she's requesting from the fire department help out with the technology of that, to get that into the iPad we have up there. Yeah, yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments on Ellen's report?
And I gotta say, Ellen's been doing a great job with all the athletic teams. She printed something out today. It was like pages and pages of all the reservations that are being made by Little League and soccer and lacrosse. And I'm so glad, because I used to do that. I'm so glad she does it, because she's much more organized and doing a great job with
She
it.
has been busy down there.
Yeah,
I have to say, everybody's been busy down there.
yeah.
Okay, seniors report.
Always so much going on.
There is always so much going on,
I'm
right?
Yeah.
jealous.
I know,
We need to get in
it's,
on this, I'm of age, you
In
know.
fact, Terry's still here. She just poked her head, and she's still working.
you know,
How old are we?
between this and the SILS program, you could be here every day.
Yeah.
I think I'm 2 years behind on this already.
So, no, and the lunch numbers are going.
Yeah, if you look at those numbers there, last year, remember, was still a little bit COVID stuff, but
Right,
188 last January versus 501 this January.
so, yes.
And you see in February, 195 versus 539 now. That's here now, and then Meals on Wheels is still going up too. Yeah, we're on track to do 40,000 or 41,000 meals this year. And it was only a few years ago, we were at 32,000. So it's just growing like crazy. I do want to comment on did you ever do one of those Beyonder trips? Have you done one of those?
I have missed each one of them for
They're
one
really-
reason or another, and I
They're
signed
pretty
up with
amazing. She had
I know.
a couple of them so far, and I know she has here a couple more coming up, but it's set up in the Monuckatuck room, which is now, the Zoom room. It's got all the technology in there. It's a live tour. You're sitting there, and while somebody's walking through the streets of Rome, for example, and going through the history, and there's one coming up from Israel, I think, in May or June. She's got the Netherlands coming up, in Ireland, and it's pretty interesting, because somebody's got like a GoPro thing on their camera or whatever, and they're walking, and you're getting a tour, like you're there, of the sites. It's pretty interesting, and it's free for seniors. It costs us as an agency $60. That's it. And for $60, and then 50 people can go up there and get a tour of these towns, these countries.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
I've also heard good things about the lunch trips, too. Everybody's been talking about that down there.
Usually the lunch is she tries to have work with Larry to have the menu be the theme
So
of
it
whatever the
goes-
trip
yes.
is. So it's Italy, it was obviously Italian food, and Ireland was corned beef and cabbage. So,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
She's been really busy, I have to say.
Yeah.
We've been busy. All right. And any questions on Anthony's park? So he's been busy, too.
Yeah.
Are
Well,
we
it's
all
time to
set
get
with
set.
seasonal help, or is he still looking for seasonal
We
help?
are short seasonal help. We usually have 2 guys by mid-March. We have one that was ready to go, but they needed him at the transfer station, and so they kind of told us he's got to work there until they fill that position, so we lost him. He wants to come back, he will as soon as they get somebody there. And we have another one is starting Monday.
Good.
So we're a little behind, but just, we can't get people. I'll just point out that if you look at a lot of things, sort of the main theme of Tony's report is spring.
It's
Setting
spring
up
cleaning.
fields, getting soccer nets out, putting picnic tables out, and grills out, and that's pretty much, all over his report. So we think we're past winter. He's getting everything set up, and the fields are starting to be used now. Especially this weekend is pretty much the starting weekend for pretty much everything, all the youth sports.
Well, I haven't really,
Is it Nut Plains? Where's the dog park? That's
Nut
Nut
Plains,
Plains
yeah.
Park on the weekend, and it was packed with people in the fields and people in the dog park, and I was so happy because it made life normal again. It was so wonderful to see.
It does, it feels good, doesn't it?
It does, it does. It's been empty for so long.
Yeah.
In my mind, it has,
Right.
2 years is a long time. All right, reports of the commissions, representatives, standing fields, John's not here, is there anything?
There wasn't a meeting this last month, but I can tell you that the things that they've been focusing on is the upper turf field at the high school, the one that was redone a couple years ago. It had some splits in it again. And I think one of our guys was up there putting the soccer goals out and noticed it was pulling away from the edges a little bit. And then there was the 45-yard line had a tear in it. And so I was told about it, and I talked to people from the school system and the field committee, and I got a hold of the contractor. And to their credit, they came out the next day and they fixed it, because it was like 2 weeks ago. Because that weekend, there was a boys' high school lacrosse tournament on that field on Saturday and a girls' tournament on Sunday. And I said, you got to get it done, because there's this tournament, and it's not good for, they can't play on it, because it was a big tear. It was like 40 feet long. It wasn't like this. It was going across the field. And the chance of somebody catching a foot on it was possible, And so, to their credit, they came and they fixed that. The parts along the edges aren't repaired yet. That wasn't imperative for safety. It's going to have to get done. But the field committee is working with the architect for the project, and they're going to come up with why did it happen and what are we doing to fix it.
Is this because of the weather caused that, or what causes it?
I don't know. Yeah. So they've been dealing with that, and the other one is we had a Zoom meeting today. The lower Cox soccer field is going to be renovated, probably starting in July, and the specifications were written up, and we kind of reviewed those today, and they'll be going out to bid in about a week for that project. The plan is to have that happen probably mid to late June, be finished by mid or late September. So irrigation and reseeding and aerating and, doing a lot to improve that lower field there.
Okay, Green Committee.
They did meet last month. I wasn't able to go to that meeting because I had a conflict with another meeting. But I know one of the things, I think they just talked about the bench location, which I think we've talked about that a few times, but they went over that. I think they've all approved that. And the benches are in, they're here. John Cunningham, who's the acting chair of the Green Committee, he's working on getting some quotes from landscape companies to actually put them in. So we wouldn't have to do it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Land acquisition.
Nothing to say, we haven't had a meeting since, it's one of those weird meeting, well, we have a special meeting tonight at 8:15, and then our actual meeting on Thursday. So I have nothing to report. If I did, they'd have to kill me, so.
Laura, when's it come up a referendum for the putting?
The bond
Yeah.
issue? I don't know if it's going to be on the ballot. I haven't looked at the ballot.
I haven't seen the ballot.
I haven't
yet
seen the
either.
ballot. It
Yeah.
could be on that ballot, I don't know, or they could be, yeah, I think that there was two thoughts about it, is that if it was on the ballot, would it really get passed or not without actually promoting what it is? It's not like we're spending $10 million, and that's what people, if it's on the ballot, is it on the ballot? Okay. So hopefully, people will be educated enough to understand.
Okay, it's on there.
It's on the ballot. Okay, good. I haven't looked. Well, I've been a little busy these days, so.
Splash pad. did we?
Yep, Rick and the committee went and picked out the boulders at the Stony Creek Quarry. Rick sent a fabulous picture last week. It is coming along. I'm excited. Anything else that I don't know about?
They may be pouring the concrete this week. The
Wow.
only thing is, they were ready for it. They got, it's all framed up and ready to go. The only, in the, I don't know what you call it, but there's a thing in the middle that, where all the little hoses come out to go to the different spray things. And it's also the main drain, it's all that, but I forgot, it's like a cylinder, I forgot what it's called. But the only thing holding up is the committee wanted the footprints. And they're waiting for the stamp for that. It's like they gotta go on the concrete and put like little,
They're animal stamps.
yeah, coyote prints
I
and,
remember that, I remember that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes.
So the kids can
I'll
follow
run
them.
across it.
I think they have fish footprints and stuff like that in there.
Okay, I do remember
Yeah.
talking about that.
The
now that you
scales
said
of the
it, yeah.
fish, and so there was a couple different ones.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So that's the only thing holding up the concrete, is they can't pour it till they have that, and they're waiting to get those stamps, and so it's really, it's coming along.
When do we think it'll be done? June, July, August? What are we talking here?
So unofficially, it could be ready by Memorial Day, but I think
Wow.
we're targeting mid-June,
Mid-June?
yeah. I don't want to publicize that yet, because it may not happen, you know,
Just want a
but,
ballpark.
but they're definitely, they're moving along very well.
Thinking about not publicizing
Yeah.
in a public meeting.
I know. Delete that.
Oh, we'll get it publicized once it's,
Yeah,
once it's
yeah.
built, don't worry.
You know, our target is mid-June.
Well, you know, it's not that warm until the end of June.
Yeah.
So we're good. Okay, unfinished business, box lacrosse, anything new and
Nope,
interesting
nothing
happening?
new there.
Same thing? 50 driveway, how's that coming?
Nothing new, although I did talk with the, one of the fire marshals today to find out if we're gonna have to put, a sprinkler system in there, because there isn't one. And he asked, well, is it inhabited? I said, well, no, I mean, there are guys could be working in there, and, you know, Tony's office is gonna be in there, but, I've gotta meet with him down there, probably with him and with Steve, and figure out, Steve Neidorf, and figure out if it needs to be done. We wanna do whatever's right, you know, but it's gonna be an added cost, but it's not coming out of our budget anyway, just some kind of a building account that's gonna pay for it, but we just gotta find out what do we need to do, and at least that's a step we're taking to figure that out, and we'll keep pushing it along.
Oh, Jacob's parking and the septic improvements.
So we got a temporary repair. If you had gone down to Jacobs anytime in the last month, the potholes were really, really bad. So Public Works went down and they did a temporary fix for us. At least you won't lose your fillings driving in there right now. So it's better, but the town engineer is still working on the plan to get some quotes, what it would cost to regrade it. The current idea is to rip out the center landscaping. It's all mostly weeds. We can't keep up with it. It's mostly weeds. And the drain pipes that are in there aren't really doing anything. The water's not draining away. The water just sits there and doesn't move anywhere. The concept was that the junipers that were planted that were supposed to crowd out the weeds, but they died out. They just weren't surviving. So the plan is to rip that all out, keep the islands, the other, where the trees are, keep those there, but the rest of it would be like a dry well, sort of. They'll dig down about 3 feet, put stone in there and let the water just drain down into it, and then grade the parking lot toward that center like that. And, you know, I was hoping that we could get it done like by now, before the beach opens, but we're just waiting for some specifications and, you know, get cost estimates, and then go to Board of Selectmen, and here's what it is, so you're gonna approve it. And
Do
so,
you think this is gonna get done before the season starts?
I'm pushing as much as I can. I hope so. Most likely, whenever it happens, we're gonna have to close that parking lot down for probably a day. You know, no one's gonna be able to drive in there. And if we could do it before Memorial Day, good.
Or do it before camp?
Yeah, but I'd like to do it before Memorial Day, because once the weather starts getting good,
Yeah, I know.
people are down there
It
a
fills
lot.
up,
Yeah,
so.
but I think they're just waiting to try to get some costs from Tilcon or some other contractor, just so we get an idea of what it might cost to do it.
Is that our money spent or?
The selectmen money.
I think Board of Selectmen is gonna cover it,
Okay.
yeah,
It's their
Right,
parking lot,
parking lot,
it's not ours.
yeah.
Right?
That's what we were told.
That's what we're told.
And the septic, same thing, we're just kind of, that's coming out of the ARPA funds, but we're just
Right.
waiting for the design for that. That's not as imperative, because the bathroom works. It's just when we get to July, it's going to start
I was just
backing up
saying,
again.
once we start camping people down
Yeah.
there, we don't want the same house as we had last year.
Right, because I was emphasizing the parking lot is a higher priority, because it's just not acceptable the way it
Yeah.
was. The bathroom would be fine, it's just not going to be a
We'd have to
problem.
have somebody come and
Right.
they have septic every week or something.
Right,
Doable, but not ideal.
yeah.
Okay. Revise the field policy subcommittee.
There hasn't been a
I was
meeting
going
yet,
to
because
ask
the
about
field
that.
committee
You were
hasn't
gonna ask
met.
about that, or you were going to ask about it, because apparently I'm on it, and either I missed it
Yeah, I
or
think
no,
it's you
there's
two
nothing
guys,
going
right?
on.
Yeah. We may have to just go ahead and just, have John Kennedy appoint somebody for because the field committee hasn't met in a couple of months, right?
Since the first of the year.
And just haven't had a quorum, so they haven't been able to meet. And so the idea was to have one or two members of the field committee, a couple commission members, and just revise the policy. So,
Does it really need revising?
yeah, I think it does. I think we're good for the spring anyway. All this, we're committed to whatever sports. We're not going to ask them to, if we're going to start charging fees for some groups, we can't go to them now. But I think the target would be fall, so it's not like a pressing issue, but at some point we got to do it and just get together and meet. So I may just ask John Kennedy if he could just talk to a couple members of the field committee and see who's interested, and then we'll get a meeting with four people. If they have two, and two for the commission, and me, we'll meet.
Okay. Basketball courts.
So the
That's also
update,
sort of out of our hands. but it's back.
yeah, well, you've probably seen some signs around town, right?
Yeah, and shirts. Shirts, too.
Mhm.
I like my baby shirts.
So,
I saw the shirt.
I've just been trying to be proactive and get costs if it does move. We haven't gotten all the costs yet. I do have a cost if we paint another court at Binder Park. I know what that would cost. I know what it costs if we moved the skate park down below and repaved that and, had that all be basketball up there. We're working on a cost for the lights. We met with Eversource there to bring power in, and with the engineer, Mike Ott, on the project. We met with an electrician. I haven't gotten those costs yet. But the other one is, there is a possibility we can get a second court at Adams, which I didn't think that was going to be possible, but Mike Ott and I met out there, we took some measurements. It's a possibility. The existing court would be torn up, we'd have to move it toward the parking lot, and we've talked to Cliff Burnham about that, and Mike Regan, the principal, they're okay with that. There aren't a lot of teachers that park over there anyway, they park more on the north side. And anytime I've gone there, pretty much those spaces are mostly empty anyway. But with a little reconfiguring, Mike Ott, the engineer, thinks we can probably regain maybe 4 of those spaces, and we wouldn't lose 7 spaces. There are some other spots we might be able to put them. But the bottom line, it's possible. So where it is right now, I think Matt Hoey is planning on appointing a committee or a task force or something to review options. So we're not doing anything till that happens, and this committee looks at everything. But meanwhile, and also the Board of Education would have to approve if it goes there.
That's right.
I think Dr. Freeman is supportive of it, Cliff Gorham is, the school principal is, but it's their property, so BOE should approve it.
Right, it can't be used during school hours.
Correct,
Right,
right.
so that's,
And there's
But
some
it does leave it
wetlands
open
there
for the
too, so
summer.
they have to watch the wetlands.
True.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, we'd have to go to
Sure.
wetlands, because it is
Yes,
close to the
that's true.
wetlands.
It's
so
close to wetlands there,
There's some hoops we have to go through if it goes there.
Problems that happen.
But we also met with,
Basement flooding there
Yeah.
and mold and,
Yep,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
we met with Musco Company they're gonna get a cost for lighting it, get better lights than what's there now. So, it's possible. I'm just trying to look at options, so that if it is, the police, emergency services location gets shut down, then we have another spot, and that's kind of, I'm just doing the research on it right now.
I think that's great if there would be 2 there. And I'm glad also to hear that it's not really messing with the parking, because though on a regular day, it's
Right.
probably empty. If you have to go to an event there, it's a nightmare parking there. And what they did on the north side has helped tremendously, but it's good that, it'd be great to get 2 courts in, but good that it doesn't have a big impact on the parking.
So you're saying, Rick, the middle school would be a possible solution, adding another court there, that would be and then we wouldn't have to worry about Bittner Park or anything like that.
Correct, unless we still want to have an option of putting lights up there for pickleball. I mean, that's, it's an option if we want to still do that,
Yeah.
but it opens some things up if that's a possibility. Looking at it, I thought, there's no way, and there isn't. There's no way you can fit one next to the one that's there.
No.
Unless you move the backstop and the whole baseball field moves, and, but again, Mike looked at it, he's an engineer. He's got an eye for this stuff that I don't have, and he said, you can do it, and we can still be 10 feet away from the backstop. So it wouldn't be like right on top of it there. But what we're gonna do is, this week or next week, Public Works is gonna dig a few test pits just to see if that's even feasible. To find out that's all like marsh underneath there, it's probably not happening. So we're just taking steps, so we're ready to go if we need to go.
Okay.
Do we know, the little subcommittee or whatever has been talked about for a while, do we know if it's been created?
I'm not aware where it has been yet. But I know Matt and, might have been a department head meeting, he said, somewhere he had said he wants to create a subcommittee or a task force or
Yeah, it's been a
committee.
couple board of selectmen meetings now, I think it's 2 that they've talked about the committee.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if it actually happened.
If he did, I haven't heard about it yet, but I would think that either somebody, one of you or me are going to be on it, I
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, did
think.
he need a volunteer from our commission to join that, to share what we've done, or
Yeah.
to bring back to us what they're thinking?
Yeah, I think that would make sense. I know he wanted to get some people from the basketball community involved with it. But, yeah, I'm not sure it's happened yet. But
Yeah, my gut
we're
feeling-
taking other
my
steps
gut
just in
feeling
case.
Those courts aren't going anywhere.
But should we ask, is there anyone that would, if the ask should come, is there anyone that wants to volunteer to be on that subcommittee so that we're ahead of the game?
Why don't we wait till like... Yeah, it's kind of jumping the gun, isn't it?
Not really, when he's been talking about it a long
Yeah.
time. And I'd rather be proactive, and instead of having 15 emails going around asking who's gonna volunteer. But if you think it's too premature, we don't have to do it.
You could do it.
I knew it was coming.
But what are so we don't even know what the times would be of the.
No, not
No,
yet.
yeah.
Okay.
Right. And I don't
Yeah.
think it'll be very long either, so.
Yep.
Well, Rick, if he looks for a volunteer from our commission, I will happily volunteer
Okay.
to represent us about the basketball courts.
I knew you would. Okay, new business, fees for buses at the beach. Well, yeah, explain that to us.
So, this is something we really should discuss, because in our policy and rules for the beach, it says buses need a permit to use the beach, but we never talked about a fee. What will we charge them? And what brought it up is there's somebody in the community who's been doing some research on, he's had a lot of questions about facilities, and he asked me if a bus went to Jacobs Beach, what would the fee be? And I said, good question, I don't know. We got to come up with one.
What's the
Do
definition
we
of
have
bus?
buses go there?
Well, the rules, the list of rules say that buses need to have a permit. We may say no to no buses. So I had a meeting last Friday with my counterparts from Madison, Clinton, and Branford last Friday, and I asked them that question. And I think it was Clinton said that they allow them, they charge $100. But I think Madison and Branford don't allow it. They don't allow buses.
Have we ever had a bus at the beach? That's interesting.
Years ago, there was one at Quantapug. Before I was here, I heard about it. It was a group went up there, and they had a busload of kids that were there.
I feel like we talked
That was like
about
1988.
School bus of kids, a charter bus of people.
I know,
Right?
regular bus,
Like, and then do the
everybody's
people
talking
pay, or, I mean, because it would be non-resident going back to.
Right. That's why I'm thinking. So what if it happens, a busload shows up at the beach, what do our gate guards tell them?
I don't think we should accept beaches. I mean, there's no room down there.
Right, where would they park?
Or do they drop them off and they leave and come back?
I think-
But you said they have to have a permit. Where do they get this permit from?
From our department. I mean, it's in the rules.
So we have to give them the permit.
Yeah. So they have to.
Before, like, it has to be
They'd have to
scheduled.
request to have a bus down there. But again, if it happened tomorrow, whenever we open, if it happened, I would have to say, what's the
Well,
fee?
now that I mean, it hasn't happened, but conceivably, I mean, suppose they could take some campers from East Haven, well, East Haven has one, Branford, and bring them out to use our splash pad.
Yeah.
Is Clinton's a blanket fee? Like, does it matter the amount of people, the size of the bus? They just are saying $100?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't have all the details, but that's, yeah, just in asking at our meeting last week, that's one thing I asked.
Can we charge per person?
Well, I was just thinking, I mean, like my car, I can have 7 people in my car go to the beach, and if I didn't live here, I'm $70.
Right.
That's right.
A bus can hold anyone, anywhere
Maybe
between.
60 people.
10 and, 50 people.
Yeah.
Like, if they're only paying 100, I'm getting gypped.
Right.
What towns do not allow buses, and what's the reason they don't allow them? You know, there?
Well, Branford and Madison, we only asked Branford, Madison, Clinton. We just, asked, and Clinton was the only one that does. Branford and Madison don't.
Do you know why they don't? Yeah, I can't see buses going in
Maybe
there.
space.
I would think it crowds the beach. I mean, they're not,
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
massive, when I am an asset, I mean, we're not that big a beach. So a busload of people.
But like you said though, Rose, that's a good point with the splash pad
50
now.
more
You don't
people.
know if that.
You don't know?
But
There's-
the thing is, if they have a permit, though, they have to make a,
Right.
like, reserve a permit, so, but we're not allowed to reserve the splash pad. So it
Right.
doesn't seem like a good fit for a camp to come visit our splash pad.
But they may try to do it.
I know.
And they should have a fee there in case.
There is an exception I just thought of. One of the daycare centers used to bring kids up to Lake Quanapog, but it was like a van or a car, it wasn't like a big bus. And it was maybe 10 or 15 kids, from the daycare center. And maybe they alternate, maybe on Tuesday it was one group and then Wednesday another group. And I think we just charged them whatever the cost of a beach pass was. But it was Guilford kids, Guilford residents. We just charged whatever the resident fee was. But back then, we also had a daily fee, which we don't have now. It's a season pass. But I think pretty sure we sold them the season pass, which was it's $35. Even if they came once, but they had 10 or 15 kids. But that was Guilford. That was kids from Guilford. So I'm just, don't know if we want to open up that box, having non-resident, a big bus come in.
And how many people the bus holds.
Just say no buses.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean.
I don't think our
feel
parking
like
lot could
we
handle
either
a bus,
have to
but-
addend our
Policy.
paper policy and remove it, or we have to attach something to it. We can't just have it floating there, and then one day
Right.
someone comes and asks you, and then it's like lighting a fire.
Right.
So we either have to say, yes, we want it, and keep it, and attach a price, or remove it, and we don't allow buses.
I don't, like, it's a fine line, because it's like, is it encouraging people to come with buses?
To be honest,
I don't know.
I don't think
like-
I ever saw it written. Like,
Yeah, it's
I'm-
interesting.
On the application for for the pavilion, the beach rules are on that too, on the backside of it. But I looked at it, it does say buses must get a permit from the Parks and Rec office. But there's no fee associated with that. So that's why I'm bringing that up, and I'm glad,
There should be a fee there for that.
glad the individual asked me that question, because I thought, oh, yeah, we gotta think about this.
For like, if I reserved all the pavilions and was having a party and to save on parking, I got like one of the smaller buses and took all my people in. It was that, do you think that's why it was originally there, or? Like, 'cause I don't-
many times does that happen?
Right.
Well, it hasn't.
And, it
It
doesn't
hasn't
happen, but.
in my
it-
time here.
You
other
can't
than
get a big
the-
bus at Jacobs Beach.
No.
It's too small.
Well, and also, you can't
and
get a big bus there,
even
it's
at-
too small, and also it takes up a lot of parking.
Right,
Yeah.
and like Quanapug, so just say no.
Quanapug's even worse, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, what would you do
There's
at
no place-
Quanapug?
no way to
Except
turn
you
around.
can't turn around. If it was a bus, I mean, it would take up the whole beach, too,
Yeah.
with the people from the bus.
Well, they could argue, they could make a point that at Jacobs, they could drop off and leave, and then come back in 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever.
But I think that's different, because then it seems that the individuals have to
Right,
pay,
then the individuals
would have to pay.
because they're like
Regardless
walking.
of how you
Right.
get it, right, yeah.
Right?
Right.
Because we do charge walk-ins.
Maybe we just say no buses. I mean, because like, all those reasons, the parking is very limited. Quanapug it's a small beach. If there were 60 people showed up there, there wouldn't be a lot of room.
No.
Can I make a motion?
Sure. go
I
ahead.
make a motion not to allow buses at Jacobs Beach and Lake Quanapug there's just no room for them there.
I'll second. Okay, any more discussion on this then?
I think you should identify what the capacity of a bus is. You can have small ones like we have for our seniors, which is only, 16?
Well, one's 15, one's, yeah, the others are
So-
20, yeah.
So is that one of the ones that you're going to ban as well?
Well, they go through anyways to drop off residents, but they have their own
No,
beach
no, no,
pass.
I'm saying some private individual or some other group has a 16-passenger bus, is that excluded?
It's a bus, it's excluded. I mean, a bus is a bus.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
semantics, people will twist it as they will say it's a large van. I'm just saying, that you,
Well, that's what I was asking about special events, like I'm trying to save you parking by not having my 50 guests, bring 50 cars, that, I would bus them in, but we're saying no buses.
But are we saying no buses can drop off and drive through? Or park?
Right.
Because if you were having an event, you could rent a shuttle thing.
Right.
Drop them off, they go, park somewhere else in town, I guess.
Could we,
and then
could we
come back.
qualify that and say no buses over, with any larger capacity than 20 people?
What is the what's the capacity?
Our
of
buses are
buses?
16, 17, thereabouts, so you round it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even those, I mean, you're talking about the buses they drive the seniors around?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no room for those in my understanding, my thinking, there's no room for those buses in there either. I mean, they're big vehicles.
We do bring them down.
We bring
but-
people
but
down
It's our
there.
own event, it's a Parks and Rec
Right.
event, we have the senior, Strawberry Festival down there. We bring our buses down, but it's on a Friday afternoon, so it's not like the parking lots, it's not a weekend. But it's a Parks and Rec event, it's our own program. I think if it's our own program, the rules are different.
The rules are different for
Yeah.
us and everything, so,
I just say we leave it at, no buses allowed. I mean,
and at the discretion of,
the Park and Rec's
Park
director.
and Rec.
Okay.
You'll be the new
We'll
bus
put it,
policeman.
we'll put it on you.
Busted.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
All good on that. Okay, now we're up to the rain garden. So, a rain garden at Bittner Park.
UConn came to us, or did we go to
Well,
UConn?
they came to the town engineer, they didn't come to us.
Well, yeah, they came to him.
I guess, I'm not sure what initiated it, I guess so, according to, I think the email, the note from the town engineer was that the Yukon is assisting the town. So basically, the town is trying to create more of these runoffs for impervious surfaces like parking lots, to have the water go into somewhere, not just like into a wetland or something. That it goes, like at the splash pad, there's a rain garden.
Right.
So some of the water running off that splash pad's going into a rain garden. It's a way to help reduce,
So they act as filters.
acts as a filter in a sense, yeah. I think it could look nice, it's big, it's 180 feet. If you look at the color diagram, the green area. So if this is at Bittner Park, you drive into the park, there's a softball field, soccer field. This is across basically from the soccer field on the right side of the parking lot. There's a little bit of a knoll there now.
Was that where we supposed to put the bocce courts for Penny and I like?
I mean, I guess there'd have to be some grading, because it's not totally flat right there, but I asked today what I got this today, what the cost and who's paying for it, and I guess the Yukon, the answer I got was they were covering it, and the price is that lower left corner, somewhere between $11,000 and $45,000. There's a plant list, I think I included that. But they would have, we see the X's are here, those would be curb cuts, so there'd still be a curb, but there'd be openings in the curb, so the water would run off the parking lot into these rain gardens. I think it could look nice. I told Janice, and I know Matt Hoey's very supportive of this, that my only concern is how do you maintain it?
That's what's gonna be my question, is how do we keep this looking pretty?
The gardens look good for a year or two, but then the weeds take over, and that's why down at Jacobs, we're gonna eliminate that center island. It's full of weeds, and we can't take care of it. So, I did suggest that if we're gonna do this, that we might wanna think of getting money to hire a contractor, landscaper, or somebody who would weed it. We don't have manpower to do it, or to give us more people, but it's hard to get seasonal help. We just, I told you, we're already behind now, because we haven't been able to get anybody. It's either that, or you give us money to get a seasonal guy, and we try to make sure we get somebody, or we contract it out. So for the first year or so, it'll look very, very nice. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a good idea. But we just got to make sure that in future budgets, we have some money to be able to maintain it.
Would
volunteers be able, I mean, there's plenty of people that like to garden that may not have their own space to garden, and maybe you might get volunteers too.
If we can do it, we tried volunteers at Jacobs,
It worked the first
We-
year or two.
Really?
Yeah.
It worked the
Yeah.
first couple of years, and then it just.
here too with the courtyard, right outside here, we've had some
Yeah.
different volunteers that have come and done it, and they do a great job for a couple months, but then it's a lot, it's a lot of weeds.
And that's not
Guilford Garden Clubs take it on, or are they really busy with everything else they do?
Is that considered community service hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, is like,
Right.
yeah.
I was thinking,
Fine.
they could hire some high school kids to do
Mhm.
it, maybe during the summer as
Mhm.
well.
The garden club could be a good idea, and we could certainly ask, there's the Leeds Island Garden Club and the Guilford Garden Club.
Rick, did the town approach UConn, or did UConn approach the town? How does?
I'm not sure what direction it went.
Is this like a school project, like landscape engineers from UConn students are gonna be doing this
I
type
think
of
it's
thing?
called Yukon Clear, I think is the name of the
Yeah,
group.
okay.
Yeah, and I think it's like a school project.
So our town engineer already looked at that, looked at this, thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Who's doing, they do all the work,
yes,
so we don't have to do any of the work.
that's my understanding. Yeah, they'll order the plants, they'll put them in, and they'll pay all the costs. Because that was the question I asked today, because I said, commissioners gonna ask me, who's paying for this? Were you gonna ask that?
We don't have to do anything to the parking lot, like, it's pitched. We know that water gathers there and that there's, like, things are gonna go down those slits.
Oh, I would think the town engineer will figure that part out, where's the best spot to put those curb cuts so the water will go that way. I don't think there's any plan to rip up the parking lot and regrade it. I don't believe that's part of it. I think it's just taking the curbing out in the right places, so the water would run through there. I think the water does run, toward the left, because it's kind of wetlands down there, so I'm pretty sure the water goes that way and that's where it ends up. So, yeah, I mean, that's something I'm sure
You
she'd
would
be able
assume
to.
that's why they
So
chose that location.
Yeah.
Because they have.
So back to semantics again, since it's a parking lot project, is this a Board of Selectmen decision?
Who's asking for
But it's-
approval?
But they
But
did
it's
ask
kind
for
of on
our
the-
approval, so, yeah, it's
on
kind
that
of
part.
not in the parking lot, it's next to
Yeah.
the
I have
parking
a
lot. so
feeling
we
It's
could
really
already
park
approve
property.
it.
Because they're looking for us to maintain it, is my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because it's in a park,
Yeah, Rick, who's asking for approval?
so.
The town engineer, and also Matt Hoey. He definitely is supportive of this, and he would, I think he would be pleased if this is approved.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
But again, it's always my question as well, is the maintenance, because there's no way right now Park and Rec can take on another. You
Yeah,
guys are
'cause-
just barely doing what you're doing, which is phenomenal, right? You can't expect,
agree.
this is what, 180 feet,
Yeah.
you said?
Yeah, by about 20 roughly.
Well, that's large,
It's a
and
pretty
it's
big
beautiful.
area.
Well, when the time comes and it gets out of control, we just say,
Then it just, yeah.
we don't have the manpower to do it, so you figure it out.
But I think we all,
Goes back to nature then.
I think we all can agree that it would beautify, I mean, it would look
Yeah.
beautiful, right? But,
And the plant selection they have is good. I did actually run it by John Cunningham. He liked the plants that they had in there. He said they're really no maintenance plants. I think I have the list there.
So Rick, if I'm,
There's no
That's
such
a
thing
lot.
as no.
Well, there's weeding, but the plants will be all right.
That's called weeds. Those are no maintenance
Rick,
plants.
if I'm looking at this picture here,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it,
Yeah.
is Route 77 to my left?
To the right.
To
To the right.
Oh, to the right.
right, yes.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
Okay, thank you.
right across that's the soccer field there.
Oh, you said that, okay,
Like
thank
down at the
you.
bottom
Okay.
there.
pull in
So,
it.
Yeah.
and then you see where it goes to the right up
And
toward the
this is
skate park.
Claire's favorite roundabout here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go this way. I go-
Yeah.
Came in this way, like in the playground.
Don't tell anybody that.
Yeah, come in from the
No,
right.
There's no sign there. It's not a public highway.
No.
So, yeah, so it's a grassy area, and just beyond that is the private property, it used to be the Bittner Farm, and, somebody else owns it now, but that's that, like, sort of that little knoll there. You can see how the topo there, you see the grades there, but it's kind of the flatter part of it.
Yes, you can, I was gonna ask if somebody would do that.
The Park and Rec Commission approved the installation of a rain garden at the Bittner Park, as shown on this map here.
With the exclusion, though, that we will not be required to maintain.
Yeah, or with a solution for maintaining it before. There's got to be something in there about maintenance.
So what would you like to add to the motion? Would you like to add to the motion that, with the understanding that we are not maintaining this? I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Is that
Yeah.
Strong?
I
We-
mean,
we-
I don't think it's it may sound strong. I
You know,
don't think it's
but-
strong. I think it's being realistic that we, I think it's just being realistic.
I think we can trust Rick to voice our
Yes.
opinion.
Yeah, we'll
I
cross-
To
agree.
we'll cross
continue
I
that-
agree.
voicing your opinion
I
if
agree.
things go sour, or if it
Mhm.
starts to look bad,
Mhm.
go to the town, explain that we do need people to do this.
Yeah, we'll cross that
So
bridge
we
when we
can
get
cross
to
that
it,
bridge.
if we get to it.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so we'll leave
That's
the
good.
motion as is? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Anybody second it?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we've already talked about has waste. Anything more we need to say? We took care of the bridge. Okay, so that brings us to our election of a new chair and a vice chair.
So, are you leaving?
I am leaving.
Do
Yes.
you want to leave? You should
I'm
stay.
term limited.
Oh, you are, okay.
Because
And you can
beyond
do
that,
too. I'm on 8. I'm 8.5. I'm going into my 8.5.
How many years
I
can you
thought
go?
at 4 though, then they had to.
Sure.
good.
I have finished.
You're good
I
at
was finishing someone's.
You can go
Let's
three
change
terms?
the rules.
It's 2 4-year terms.
That's a whole different nomination.
Claire, how many, what's our terms?
Two
4-year
two
terms.
4-year
2
terms.
4 years, that's all you can do.
Yes, unless you fill in for someone and then
Find
you,
out. I
would-
You
How long
finish
I've
theirs
been
and then you
finish their
start
term and then
yours.
you start
So
yours.
that's what I'm doing.
Walk for a year and then come back on again.
right.
So now you're leaving, you're the one that got me on.
Well, you know,
I don't even know how many years I've been on, I'll be honest with you, I just lost
I have it
track.
at home, I'll let you know.
Good, thank you.
I propose
Did bring it
those
with me.
walks for years, in fact.
So I don't know if this is a motion or a nomination, but since.
It's a nomination, go for it.
Okay, it's a nomination. So since Rose is leaving us, I would like to nominate Claire Kincaid Dunn as our new chair. I think we can all agree that Claire puts everything into everything she does, and I've worked with her on Parks and Rec things, so many things for town, school, all over the place, and she's just a dedicated, organized, spirited community member here. But she's so so important in our commission and all the hard work she does, and that history of, what's been going on for the past however many, six plus years that you've been around. So I think you're an excellent choice and for chair, so I'd like to make that nomination.
Someone second the nomination? Any other nomination?
I would like to nominate.
What, we haven't voted on you yet. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
So we have to call you Chair Claire.
Chair Claire.
Well, it's easy to remember. Well, can I make
Claire
a
in the chair.
nomination for vice chair?
Certainly.
I would like to nominate Laura Hartman.
Really?
I Why do you act so surprised?
for Rose over here.
Well, I don't want Rose to go anywhere. Rose has been here the whole time since I've been here, so I'm losing my mentor.
Someone second the nomination?
I'd like to nominate Diane. For second chair.
Wait, let's go back. We have to wait. Time out.
We're all being put on the
You
spot
beat me
here.
to
I
this.
know.
We need
I
a
don't like
second.
it.
We need a second for Laura.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, I'll second.
I'm confused about the protocols
All right.
going on here. I'll second.
Laura,
I make a commitment.
Okay. All right. So, okay, now you can make another nomination. Any other nominations? And you have nominated
Diane.
Diane. Someone second that nomination.
The opponent. I sense a trend here.
Co-vice chairs?
Co-vice
Arm
chair.
wrestle, see who gets it?
Let's just do that.
We all just help Claire.
Um,
Let's do rock,
We've never
paper,
had
scissors,
co-chairs.
and
I
see how-
suppose we could.
Who seconded it?
Laura did.
And it did-
Laura.
Is that
did.
unheard
So what
of?
do you do now?
Well, we would have to have a vote.
Put people on the
No,
spot.
So,
I'm happy to step aside and
Well,
let
I
you
am
do it.
too, because I don't know if I could make the time commitment to be the vice chair.
Well, you don't have to accept the nomination if you don't want to. That's your choice, obviously.
It's up to you.
I'm not sure, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to commit and then I'm not able to fulfill the time that's involved.
Well, if you're
I'm
not
gonna
sure,
be on-
then what you're saying
Yeah,
is no.
No, yes, I think I'm grateful and thank you, but I'm not gonna accept the nomination.
You're sure? You're totally sure?
Yeah.
You can make a sergeant at arms or something.
I am, I could do that.
You could be the second vice chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always willing to.
Nominated, I will not accept.
Okay, well, in that case, all in favor of Laura? You've accepted the nomination.
Have I? I
Yes,
have,
you
okay.
And you have now been voted on. So,
Wow.
congratulations, ladies.
Wow.
Okay, so for the last time, motion to adjourn.
There, wait, there's one more item of business.
Slow your
Oh,
roll.
wait a minute, I forgot John. Do we have any new business?
Nope,
You always have new business.
Expenditures?
nope. I'm,
This is a gift from the commissioners and from the Parks and Rec staff.
Thank you for all your service.
Oh, what is that?
And I think the nameplate there's got all the dates that you served,
Oh, you're
going
kidding.
back to 1987.
It did. It did.
You were in the commission when I got hired.
It was, it goes back, this goes back to 1987.
Oh, wow.
I was on from 1987 to 2003. Came back in 2011,
Wow.
2022.
Wow.
Thank you guys so much.
Wow.
There's still hope.
Thank you very much. I love it, huh?
I said, there's still hope to add to that.
There's
Come
still
back.
hope to add to that, absolutely. I'll still be here. Motion to adjourn.
Don't we have a new commissioner here?
Yes, well, I was going to introduce her after.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
So that he could turn off the,
Everything all set?
Yep.
Yes.